So I'm really happy to bring Chad Peevy to the podcast. Chad and I go way back, and Chad's specialty is this nice narrow focus of realtor marketing. That's it. Realtor marketing. Now it has changed over the years, but so tell us about your background a little bit and really what you do.
So I started as an agent. That's where I got my start. I wasn't really a big fan of putting buyers in my car or going to on listing presentations, and so I didn't enjoy that side of the business. I was doing a lot of marketing for a group that I was a part of at the time, and discovered that was really my forte.
Yeah.
And I really made that my business, and that's been 10 years ago that I started doing that. And I've just focused all these years on helping real estate agents market themselves and market their business.
Yeah. So your business is what? Tell us about the Flyer Box Club.
Yeah, so the Flyer Box Club is a business that is exclusive to real estate agents, and we help them from the very beginning when they get started with setting up their technology, helping them really launch their business on the marketing side of things. So setting up technology, setting up their marketing plans, helping them figure out which part of the market they're going to do best in based on what they bring to the table for their business.
Okay. So the topic in this podcast series is new and emerging, launching and relaunching agents. So this is the beginning and it's the middle. Okay. So how does an agent get started with their marketing? Where do we start? What's that look like?
So when I'm talking to agents about their marketing, I always go back to who the agent is as an individual. So I'm a big fan of the DISC personality profile, and I think Tony Robbins even has a free version on his website. If you're not familiar with the DISC and you want to take one, you can go visit his website to get one. So if an agent comes in and they really have no idea what they're going to do to market themselves, I say, well, let's look at your DISC. And
let's look at your personality.
Yeah,
what's your style?
Let's see what's going to be suitable for you, because I don't think the agents who come in and they're told this is the path, this is the only way to do it. You're going to bang out the phone calls every day for 8 hours a day, and then you're going to knock on 1,000 doors a week. It's just like for some people that's really scary, that's really intimidating. They're not going to be good at it, and they're going to end up out of the business quickly.
It's not authentic for them.
Right. So let's look at your profile. If you're what the DISC would consider a high I, so someone that's a really big people person. Yeah. All right, let's get you in front of as many people as possible, because that's where you're really going to shine.
Yeah.
So let's do the open houses. Let's do the door knocking. Let's get you at some networking events and really involved in your community at a face-to-face level. That's where they're going to succeed. If they come in and they've got a really high C on the DISC profile, which is they see the world as sort of black and white. Typically our tech people are more high C, not a lot of I, but very technical oriented. Detailed. Then I'll say, let's start looking at the technology side of things. Let's start figuring out how to get you out there via tech. Yeah, so that's how I guide the discussion for no matter where they're coming into the business. That's where I really like to start with them. Let's figure out what you're good at, where you're going to excel, where you're going to feel comfortable, and where you're going to put the most investment to making your marketing work for you.
Okay. So in this podcast, I'm talking a lot about database and building that foundation. And let's talk about how that database plays into a really effective marketing plan. Because I know that you teach that a lot in your classes.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that's a great place for people to start, because I think oftentimes the database is overlooked. And it's such a simple thing. I'm sure you've told folks about this before. I've heard you say it a lot. Your database is in your phone. And it's such a simple thing, and it's overlooked so often. But let's just start with the people that we know and start making that work for us. And I also think that the database is a really safe space for people to play around with their marketing and figure out what's working for them. And it's almost like these are your beta test people. Let's see what's working with these folks, and then we'll make that a little bit bigger and go out to the public with your marketing effort.
That makes a lot of sense. We talk about METs, so people that you already know. So those folks are in your phone. And then there's have-not METs. We haven't met those folks yet. Those may be open houses. Those folks, actually, open houses kind of fall in between, but somebody finding you online. So those are the have-not mets, and those are some different strategies.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
when you start in this business, you have a database.
Right.
You maybe just don't realize it.
Right. You can also get people off of Facebook, people that you're friends with on Facebook, people that you're connected to on LinkedIn. Those are all people that you could reach out to. And I like those to start because the conversion rate is so much higher for those prospects. For people that you've met, we're going to see for every 12 people that you have in your database who you've met, 2 of those will convert in a year if you're doing the right things.
If you're effectively communicating with
That's right.
them. So on the database topic, and the Mets and the have-not Mets. So you said for every 12 in your database, you should be able to get 2 pieces of business out of those 12. So either them or someone
Or
they
somebody
know,
they know.
Or a referral.
Right.
Just posting something on Facebook saying, "Hey, I'm in real estate," or "Hey, look at this house." How effective is that?
Well, it counts, but I don't.
It counts.
I don't hang my hat on it. So you see marketing people talk today, and we've been talking about it for years and years and years, top of mind status.
Okay.
We want everybody to be top of mind, right? And so you do things and you market to them so that you're top of mind. When people think about real estate, they think of you. Well, today it's so much easier to do that because you don't have to spend $600 on a postcard mail out anymore. You can get on Facebook or Twitter or Snapchat or LinkedIn and make all those things happen. So as you're competing for top of mind status or attention with your audience, there are a lot of different ways that you can do that now. So I do encourage agents to use the social media outlets and every outlet available to you to get top of mind status with folks. But don't hang your hat totally on that. There's no substitution for face-to-face interaction.
Yeah.
There's no substitution for an actual conversation with somebody on the phone. So social media helps, but it's not going to replace human interaction.
Okay, that makes sense. So when you think of marketing, I mean, this is really broad, but it's like having the effective marketing so that you can get top of mind and stay top of mind.
Right.
Tell me about, and I'm sure you see this a lot, having a plan versus not having a plan.
Yeah, that's the biggest mistake that agents make.
Okay.
From new to top producers, it's a huge mistake. And I love talking to agents about where they're spending their money and the return on investment they're getting on that money, because it's usually a train wreck. So this is a big mistake. First of all, don't sit down. It all goes back to that disc. Figure out what you're good at,
Who you are, what am I good at?
and what you can do. Now you do eventually grow out of that. I heard a coach the other day say that your why will outweigh the hang-ups that you might have about not wanting to do this, that, or the other.
Okay, sure.
So when you're getting started, start with the things that you're really good at and that you know something about and you're comfortable doing. But as you grow, you will grow beyond that and have to leverage that out. But don't leverage that out and not educate yourself about what it is that you're getting into. So when the Yellow Pages guy calls or the Google AdWords guy calls, you can have at least a base level discussion about what it is that you're going to pay for and what you should expect as a return on that investment. If you just listen to everything that they tell you, they have scripted themselves to tell you what you want to hear. So as salespeople, I think we get attracted to that being sold to message, and it's exciting and it's easy for us to go down those steps with them.
Well, and there's a lot of that out there.
Right.
You can get one a day.
There's no shortage of
Easy.
opportunity to spend money on your marketing and real estate, right?
Yeah.
Right. But get yourself educated. Spend an hour figuring out, okay, if I'm going to do these Google AdWords, how does that lead to a transaction for me?
Yes, and hold that money accountable.
That's
too.
right. That's critical.
So mistakes that agents make, and whether it's new or middle or a seasoned agent, I've seen seasoned agents make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
So not having a plan is a mistake.
Well, they have a lot of opportunities to make mistakes because there's more money to throw around, right?
Okay, so they're throwing more money around,
Yeah.
but they may be wasting more money too.
Right.
I've seen some really successful agents whose profit was not very impressive. Sales impressive, profit not so impressive because they're spending money and not holding it accountable.
It's all about the bottom line, right?
It's about the bottom line.
So when you're putting together your plan, and around fourth quarter of the year is when I see folks mostly putting together their plan,
Sure.
and I like them to put that plan on one piece of paper.
Okay.
And that one piece of paper is going to guide the next year. We can change it next year if things aren't working, or if we get 6 months in and we're seeing things just aren't working out, we'll make changes. But what we're not going to do is get into that one sheet of paper and around about June, some sales guy shows up, let's upgrade your subscription to do this, or let's start spending $1,000 a month to do this. And you go back to that page and you go, you know what, man, that's just not on my plan for this year. Let me touch base with you about that later in the year.
Nice.
Let me study that and figure out how that can fit into my plan, if it will fit into my plan, and let's do it then.
Yeah.
But get that plan in place, put it on one sheet of paper, and stick to that plan for a year. Don't be going here, there, and everywhere to make something, to try to get something to work for you.
Okay. So a narrower focus with your marketing is better versus just all over the place.
Right.
Okay.
And I always front load. I tell agents you want to front load that investment on the people that you know. So as I'm thinking,
So what does that mean exactly?
So in my own business, as I'm marketing my own business, I'm willing to spend more money on somebody that I have a higher chance of converting than I do on somebody that a geographic farm. So I'll spend $1 on a lead to send a postcard to, right? That's okay. But I might spend up to $50 on somebody that I think is on the fence and almost ready to go. So I'm always thinking strategically about who I've met, where they are in my sales funnel, where they are in my process, and how much I'm willing to invest in that particular lead to get them to convert.
So there's that sales funnel topic again. So let's talk branding a little bit. So
Okay.
you help agents brand. What advice do you have for agents that maybe are just starting, or they've been in the business for a while but really haven't done a branding, or maybe somebody who's actually thinking of completely rebranding themselves? What's that look like?
So branding is that's a great topic, and we see agents doing that a lot. And I think it's cool. And a lot of the companies that are out there now in real estate are encouraging agents to build their own brand, and then backed by the power of the broker that they're with. But in real estate, I personally feel like the emphasis is on the person. I don't see the consumers care so much about who the real estate agent is affiliated with as much as they care about the integrity and trustworthiness and the relationship that they have with that particular agent. And so branding yourself is critical. And when you put that brand out there, you want it to be professional, you want it to look good. And if I could share with you some things that I see happen when agents come in to brand or have branded somewhere else. And this is a little bit techy. I hope that's okay.
Let's do it.
All right. You want to make sure that you're always getting vector art back from whomever is designing your stuff.
Okay, vector art.
It's got to be vector art. It has to be something that we can use in different formats and it not get distorted. You need to do a Google image search on anything that someone designs for you. You can just plug that image into Google and see if that image exists anywhere else out there.
Oh, so is it original?
Is it original?
Yeah.
And
Who owns it?
Yeah, and so especially if you're using something like these discount designers out there, be very, very careful about hiring folks, because you could get something that's used in lots of other places, and that's not the brand that we want to put out there. I saw an agent brought their logo into me the other day, and then I was on vacation in Florida, and I saw their logo at a restaurant. And it was like, this is not,
gosh.
Yeah, that's not cool. So be careful about that kind of stuff. Always make sure that you own the art. There are folks out there that will still lease you the art or not give you the rights to the art once they design it, and you want to make sure you own the art free and clear. Make sure that the art can be used across platforms. So if you're going to design something, you want to be conscious of the fact that on social media and a lot of places on the web, it's going to want a square. So if your design will not fit into a square and be legible or be recognizable, then I would rethink that. So you see folks with these really long logos. When you get that down into a square in social media platforms, you can't see that.
It's not effective.
Yeah. But invest in branding. I have agents that branded with me 10 years ago and still use that brand today. Make sure that you get something that is timeless, that is classic. Don't follow the latest fads and color or look. Really look for something that's going to stand the test of time. And make a serious investment with a serious company who is serious about helping you brand yourself. Don't just go off and hire a designer that's just going to throw something together, not put a lot of thought into it, and bring that home and make it mean something to you. Your brand should be really personal and reflect who you are.
Okay. And that needs to be reflected in your budget too. So initially you may not have that budget.
Yeah.
So it's like, get the clients first and build up that budget. Be realistic with it. Or you can do pieces of it. You can build on it, but always be realistic. I see some new agents who start in the business and they've really put some financial thought, imagine that, into the business before they start. And you and I have seen that. We know some of them ourselves where they started and already on day one they had a budget of about $10,000 that they knew they were going to spend in their first year on their business, on marketing, on branding, on tools, on advertising. They already had that in place. They were running it like a business. There are also agents who start on day one where the budget is zero.
Yeah.
And just acting accordingly, because you can do a lot for free in this business, so you have to be realistic. It's like, what is my budget? And you lay out that plan and you move forward with it. That's why I talk about clients quickly. When you get clients quickly and you can build up some cash flow, when you're building up that cash flow, you're going to have a lot more alternatives or options that actually have a marketing budget to
and
work
I think
with.
it accelerates them. I mean, the agents that I see
Yes.
that come in and have that budget and they're ready to make that investment for themselves,
Yes.
they're always on a more accelerated path. That doesn't mean that if you don't have the budget and you're coming into it with zero that you can't. But it just seems like the folks that do really excel really quickly. I don't know if it's about, when they see their name and designed into a logo and they see their color scheme, that it motivates them a little bit more. It's
Sure.
like it's my name literally on the line. But they seem to excel quicker.
Yeah. Now, some brokerages around the country are going to have some limitations on branding do's and don'ts and what your options are. And in some, it's wide open. So you have to understand kind of the requirements of your brokerage and your license. And that's why working with a professional who understands some of the parameters that you have to work within is important. Because we really hate seeing somebody spend money on a new logo or brand and then we find out that it's not compliant.
Yeah, you've got to check with your local broker, you have to check with your company, and you need to check with your state regulatory entities. I know here in Texas especially, you can't use words like realty or real estate or
Yes.
company.
Yeah. Okay.
You've got to be careful.
All right. Very good. So how can folks find you online?
We're at theflyerboxclub.com. Search for me on Facebook, Snapchat, LinkedIn, or the Google.
The Google. Yeah. So thanks, Chad Peevy from the Flyerbox Club, for helping us with marketing for new and emerging agents.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Always.